Hi, welcome to video 4, looking at the Diamond aircraft, the DA40, the TDI version. And we're back to the X-Touch again, and we're looking at the G430 on this side. So we're looking at the GPS side. A previous video, we looked at how we do the comms and navigation side of things. And that's already done, so I'll put a little flag that will come up somewhere around here hopefully, and if you haven't seen that one you can go backtracking on that. And the very last video I did an overview and shows you how the actual functions work. And again, if you haven't seen that video, I'll make a little pop-up come up somewhere here-ish, and that should bring you back if you want to see the actual layout, the logic behind the GPS side of things. But if you know all that, what I'm going to get on doing is to actually assign the buttons to it. So that's what we've done so far. We have done all that side of things, and what we're going to do now is work our way across the various buttons and knobs that we haven't allocated yet. And the first section we'll do is look at allocating the rotaries, the outer and inner rotary, and the press to get the cursor, and then we'll do the OBS message flight plan procedure. So we'll be doing this bit here. We'll be doing those knobs there and working our way across these buttons here, and it's all relatively simple, all driven by Aixis and Ohs, of course. So shall we do these cursor knobs first of all? So there's two rotaries, an inner and outer. It's large, it's the right large and the right small that we're working for. So we allocate a new key down event, and we can search for the 430. So we'll apply a filter for that, and it's in the HTML variables, the 430, and we're looking at the right. And we'll do the large knob first. Doesn't matter what order you do them in, but let's go work our way down logically there. So right large knob, and that's this one here, my outer one, and I'm going to turn that to the left. So I do 2 clicks, that's turned that to the left, and click on add, and that's done. So same filter again, so we're going to allocate a new event, the 430 filter, and we're looking for the large knob on the right hand side turning towards the right. So that double click on there, so it's the outer one, the large one here, turning it to the right. So we need to click it twice so it knows we're going to the right. Add, and those are in there. So we've got right large knob, left and right allocated. So now we'll do the inner knob, the small one. So same procedures, applying that filter, and it's going to be the right small knob, moving it to the left. So that's the inner one, the small one, turning that twice to the left so that it knows that we turn is left. So just keep an eye on that, make sure that's okay. Click add, allocated. And now the next one on my list is actually the push, because they're in alphabetical order. And you'll see that as we come into here. It doesn't matter what order we program them in, but as we're working down this logically, we shall put the push in there. So double click, and it's this one here that I need to click on to push that. So that's clicked, add, and that will bring the cursor up for us when we're working in the GPS mode here. Last one on that side then is that 430 filter, and it's turning the small knob to the right. So turning this one here, 2 clicks to the right, and we'll click on add. So that's all done. What's next for us? Well, we need to work our way across the OBS, the message, the flight plan. So let's work our way across that there. So OBS first, we'll add and we're looking for, these are in alphabetical order, so there's the OBS, and it's this button here next to my CDI button, just clicking that to allocate it. Done. We can't test it because OBS doesn't function. We've just got to hope that it works. So I click on here, you'll see that it's lighting up here So it knows that I pressed for OBS, but it's not implemented. I'll put it in for completeness, and in the vain hope that one day someone at Microsoft or Asobo, whoever, will update and actually complete the job here. I've flagged it a number of times as a bug, a missing feature. No response at all, of course. Anyway, message. So in the HTML variables, it's in alphabetical order. There's our message button. Allocate that to the next one across. Done. And we can check that works on here. So we'll press message, and there it is away. Coming up, flight plan. So just filtering it through, and we're looking for flight plan in alphabetical order. There it is, flight plan. So that's the next one across. Run to the 6th button, flight plan, done. Add, and if you really want to test it, there it is, there's the flight plan. I've got faith in the system. Right, procedures, last one, procedure. So we're allocating a new key down event. We're applying the 430 filter. In the HTML variables, we want the procedure push. 2 clicks on there. Procedure done. Add. Okay. So we should be able to turn the outer knob, and it goes through all the various chapters. The inner knob takes us through the pages. So that's okay. And let's go back to other waypoint, and if I press the cursor button, that's the inner button here, brings up the cursor, and the cursor's working. So we know everything works there. They haven't actually done anything about that, but in the real world, pressing that cursor button a second time should stop the cursor flashing. It doesn't, so we kind of need to clear our way out. The clear button's interesting. It's got 2 functions. The ordinary clear will just take an item out of a list, or anything you just put in you can clear and remove it. The long press on it brings us back to this default screen here. So let's go back and look at our PowerPoint and see what we're up to, and we'll deal with that clear. So that's all done. That's all done up to there. What's next for us is the button on the right hand side, and we'll start with the clear. As I said, we've got 2 functions for that, so we will bring that in and show how you do that. The rest of them are just as before, just filter and allocate. So we'll bring in flight simulator, we'll bring in Aixis and Ohs. In fact, what I'll do with Aixis and Ohs, I will make sure that it stays active. Even when I click on the background, it's going to stay where it is. So we'll look at this clear button here, and there are 2 functions, so I'm going to allocate it twice. So the first one is going to be the same filter, still working with that 430, and it's the ordinary push. So I don't need to do anything strange with my push, I just need to push it so that it knows which button I'm talking about, and add it. So that's the clear allocated, that's fine. Now it's the long push. So again, filtering for the 430 in the HTML variables, and it's the next one down, this long push that I'm allocating. So double click on that, and I'd allocate it just in the normal way. I don't do any strange push here, I just press it so it identifies it, but I tell it here, don't respond unless you've done a long click. Now that's under half a second, that's not really very long. If you press that and hold it for too long, you'll end up jumping out of a menu that you didn't need to jump out of. So I'm going to increase this up to a second. So I'm rolling my scroll wheel on the mouse, and I'll put it in as I have to hold it for a whole second before it responds to the other function. And let's just see that in action. If I use this here, let's go to a different page, and I'm stuck in the menu system, I've got lost. If I hold down the clear button now for a second, it takes me back. I'll do that again, but I won't hold it for too long this time. So just dab in the clear button, does nothing, hold it for a second and it's back. So that's quite reasonable. You're not accidentally going to leap out by holding it for too short a time. Okay, so let's work our way along here. We've got to put an enter in. Now when I print these out, I normally put a green background behind or a yellow background behind my enter so that I can find that button quickly, because when you're flying you've got to don't take your eyes off the screen for too long. So it's just the way I print these out. People have asked where I get this from. I actually designed it myself, and it's only a piece of paper that's stuck onto it. In fact, it's a slightly heavier card. But you do need an A3 printer. I'll put a link in the description when I put this up. I've got to tidy it up a bit. There's some things I need to add to it, but it's in Word format for an A3 printer. But I'll put it up on my GitHub if you want to download it and use it. You're welcome to it. I cut these out with a kind of sharp razor blade type thing, and for these ones here I've got a little circle cutter which I got from Amazon. I could link to that if you want to see that, so you can cut circles out. It's an Amazon purchase, so I can probably make a link to that as well, so you can see where I got that from if you want to cut circles. Anyway, where were we? We've done the clear button, so we want to have the enter button here. So let's put that in. So we're going 430, applying the filter, looking for the enter button, and we'll press that button, and that's now assigned. And then we'll do the direct to, so plus 430, direct to allocated. And after director, let's just check where we are with that. Direct to menu is what we want. Yep. So $4.30 and looking for menu. There it is. Done. Add. And then we come to the range. Now this is, let's just check how the range works. So I'm going to change the page here, and we'll go to the map page, the map page here. And if I press this one here, that zooms in. So that's the going in button, and this is de-zooming. You'll see why I said that in a minute. So the left hand one here is going to my zoom in, and that's going to be my zoom out. So I need to sort of correct what I've got there. So I want to say zoom in, zoom out, really, range in, range out. So let's have a look at where that is on here. So they've called it zoom and de-zoom. So it's zoom in and zoom out, I'm guessing. So let's allocate that one to this one here. So that should be my zoom in, so it matches that. I hope it matches. If not, we'll swap them around. And we'll do the de-zoom one. Apply filter. 430. De-zoom. And we'll chop that way. So again, we'll put that out of the way. So left hand button here on the screen gets us in closer, and we'll check that on this left hand button here, and it's still going closer, and that goes the other way. So that's my de-zoom. Okay, actually we've got a spare button, spare knob here, and one or two people have asked about can you allocate a rotary to it. It's not strictly correct, because in the real world it would be buttons, but some people like to be able to zoom in and out with the button and we've got a spare rotary. So let's have a look at the procedure for doing that, and it's really simple, but you have to make a choice about which way we want to turn it for the ins and outs. And I quite like it if I turn it to the right. that it zooms me in, you know, a turn to the right, and I'm going to drive in. So I'm going to have my D-zoom as an anti-clockwise. It just feels comfortable. So I'm going to D-zoom by turning this one to the left, and I will zoom. So you've got two D-zoom allocations now, and I will now do the same for the zoom. So turning right kind of drives the screw in, drives it in, right hand tightening. Okay, so we'll do the right hand one as a zoom, and I should have two allocations, two zooms and two D-zooms, and I will now zoom in by going clockwise and zoom out by going anti-clockwise. So that works quite nicely. I don't see that's a problem, so I'm going to leave that as it is. So what's next for us? Let's go back to my PowerPoint. All those buttons are done, and the range is done as well, so that's up. I've got these last three here to allocate, and those I'm going to have for the controls on the sort of steam gauges, the old gauges, the OBS, the compass, gyro, drift, and the barometer. That's what I need to do next, and those are, if I get my flight simulator up again, those are here, my OBS, my altimeter calibration, and the heading drift. The gyro, I've got the drift switched off actually in my failures, but really always have it switched on, but it just becomes a bit tedious every half an hour or so, fiddling with it and remembering to do it. But what happens is that this does drift out, in the real world, does drift out away from the compass, and what you would normally do is you would check on your compass bearing here and check on here to make sure that the drift is about right. You do need to line your eye up with this one when you do it. You really ought to sort of move your head. Now I usually use a head tracker, so I don't have to use keyboard presses to get myself across, but you really need to eye your line up with that so there's no parallax. And also notice it kind of looks a bit backwards, the thing here, because you've got east to the left of your and your 60 marker, and here it's the other way around, so you need to keep an eye on that to make sure that you understand how that works. Yeah. Anyway, I want to allocate that, so let's start with that one. We'll go with this filter here. So we're going to allocate something new, and it's the drift that we're trying to look for. So we'll do it. Try that again. We will apply a filter looking for my drift, and here it is. We've got the drift decrease and increase. So it's my drift button here that I'm going to allocate to the left, and same one again, the filter to the right. So got that filter, and we're going to drift the increment drift to the right, add, and we want to just test it out. So I'm going to keep my eye on this card here, and the drift to the right and to the left. That's working fine. Okay, next one we'll do the altimeter, and that's the strangely named Colesman. Don't know if anybody in the real world actually says that anymore. Don't know, and I don't even know if they spelt it right, to be honest. I thought it was K-H-O-L, but they've got it as K-O-H. And but it's the decrease and increase, so it's the barometer decrease, increase, and then the last one is the OBS here that we need to allocate. So let's filter here for OBS, and we're looking here at the VOR1 OBS decrease. So that's the OBS here, that knob there being turned to the left, and we'll do the same for the right. So there he is. OBS, apply the filter, and it's VOR1 OBI, this is the indicator, increments, and there we go. So we'll just have a quick test across here. So let's zoom in a bit and have a look at what's going on. So we've tested the drift, the altimeter going up, going down, so that's working, and then it's watching the card here on that indicator, and that's working to the left and to the right. So I think we've now got just about everything. Let's go back to our PowerPoint, and we can move you out of the way, and let's go back here. So we have got all the comms and navigation sorted there, so we can use the traditional steam driven stuff. We've got the outer, inner and cursor, we've tested that. We went OBS message, flight plan, procedure, that's all done. All of the bits here, the clear button done twice, enter, yes, that's all done. And the range we've done both of those, both as a knob and as a button. And we have done those there, so that's all done. That's everything now for layer A is done. So our next video we will look at what we can do with layer B. We've got loads of buttons left to play with, and we haven't touched on the transponder, and we haven't touched on the lighting, so we'll have a go at those in the next one and program those up as layer B. I usually use layer B for things that I'm not going to have to use very often in flight. They're my lower priority. You don't change your settings of these transponders that much when you're in flight, so and you don't change your lighting that often, so they're kind of a layer B type function, and that's what we'll do next. As I said, I will put a link when I've tidied up the template for this overlay that we've been talking about, so this paper overlay, that if you want to download that, you can grab that. I don't I never propose to give away finished solutions. I'm not ever going to publish my profiles, make those available. I want to show you how to make profiles rather than give you profiles. That's really what this system is all about. But I know how frustrating and how long I took setting up a Word document and getting these spacings pretty accurate. Learning how to cut it out, so I'll give you that one for free. How about that? Free gifts. Okay, I'll see you in the next recording.